Hi, I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about driving tests. At the moment, currently, many of you will know that there's, well, since the pandemic, over 500,000 tests have been cancelled. Currently, as a driving school, we're not, but we're booking tests somewhere around about November, December. And if your test is coming up, you may be worried about this. So it's vitally important that you do everything you can to make sure you're ready for that test. The DVSA, the people that run driving tests, sent an email round to all driving instructors telling them to ensure that their pupils are ready for test. Because obviously, if a pupil fails a test, that doesn't help the system. It makes the backlog even longer, even harder, etc., etc. And you don't want to be there. Many instructors didn't quite understand what was going on there, but what they're saying is, look, do everything you can. And there's a few things that you can do. And I'm going to try and help you here, give you some advice. So some people have been waiting for over 18 months, and they've had over 4 to 5 test appointments cancelled for one thing, etc. Some of which is very, very last minute, literally on the day we've had them. So it is essential that you are ready for your test, because it could be an awful long way afterwards. So what can you do to ensure you're ready? Well, first of all, I've said this many times before, wrote articles, etc. about this, is obviously ultimately take as many lessons as you can. Now, a lot of people worry about the cost of lessons, and of course today people are trying to get through as fast as they possibly can in as few as possible lessons as they possibly can, and this we obviously appreciate, etc. It's probably one of the main reasons why the overall pass rate is probably only about 46% in any test centre, because most people tend to go in before they're not quite ready. Just that extra few lessons would have made the difference. So that's really one of the main things, is to make sure that you are ready. Try and take as much lessons as you can, and also if you can get private practice, that helps immensely. But be careful with the private practice. Many a driving test has been lost because mum and dad or somebody who's supervising with every good intention is told the person, oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that. Classics I've heard in the past are, make sure you drive 10 mile an hour under every speed limit. The examiner will be impressed. No, they won't. And things like, make sure you signal every time you move off. Again, even some instructors don't quite get this, except you signal when necessary, but this isn't what's about today. This is about there, but things like that. Other things out there, I've heard parents say things like, stop at every junction, because and then check and look, because the examiner will be impressed. And no, they won't. They want you to make progress. Remembering, at the end of this test, if that examiner hands you that piece of paper to say you have passed, you could go out, literally buy yourself a Ferrari and drive it to Scotland up the main road or anywhere. It would be nice if we could afford a Ferrari, I know, but that's the principle. You could go out and buy yourself any vehicle and drive it. So the examiners need to know that you are confident on every road, and confident even on roads you don't know. Okay. You know you're ready when you are able to drive your car with your instructor or with your parents without any prompts whatsoever. You won't need to say things like, do I signal here? Which lane do I get in? What do I do here? All those questions, they won't exist, because you will know, you will be able to drive on any road. Also, you'll know that you can drive on roads that you've not been on before. That's most important. We hear in the past of people's wanting to just be shown test routes. It's a very, very bad way to learn. It's not actually physically practically anyway. Many test centres have got 30 odd test routes. They can be done clockwise and anti-clockwise, and they're all subject to change at the drop of a hat anyway. It just wouldn't work. You've got to remember, you need to be able to drive at a road that you don't know, because even if you were to practice that test route today, there may be roadworks. The examiner turns you right down a road in a system you've never seen before. If you're not ready, you will go to pieces, and you need to be able to handle roads. So literally say to instructors, you take me on roads I've not been on. Make sure you're confident. Okay. You need to make sure you can drive without any prompts. Okay, you need to make sure you're confident with any maneuver. It's been a long time since I taught learners, but I used to ask my learners around about 6 to 10 weeks before their test. I'd say to them things like, if your test was today, what would you be worried about? And they would tell me, oh, I'd be worried about the reverse around the corner or the parallel park, or I'd be worried about such and such a roundabout. Well, guess what we're going to do today? I would get rid of their Achilles heel, their weak point, so much to the point that when they come to their driving test, very often at the end of it, although they'd passed, they were a little bit disappointed because they didn't get that maneuver that they didn't like. They didn't go along that roundabout that they didn't like before. And they were disappointed because they really wanted to show the examiner, hey, I can do this. And when you're like that and you're actually looking forward to it, like, yes, come on, bring on that roundabout, I'm happy with it. You know you're on your way to passing that test. You've got that confidence, because that's what an examiner is looking for as well, confidence. Things always happen when you're driving, and you need to show you've got the confidence to be able to make a decision and deal with it. A road layout changes, a bus breaks down in the road in front of you, something happens, you need to have the confidence to think, hey, what can I do here? That extra few hours before the test could mean a huge amount of difference from a wait of 5 to 6 months afterwards. So it is worth considering getting that extra training. Nearly all my learners will be saying to me before their test, David, if you've got any spare lessons slots at all, please let me have them. I will book them, because they knew the importance of being absolutely ready for that test. There's a few other things you can do. Now, it may not be easy, but try and get a good night's sleep and do eat a good breakfast. Do eat a breakfast, even if it's just a banana in the morning. A lot of people swear by bananas. Apparently it contains something that can actually help calm nerves and things. So, eat your breakfast. Make sure the day before, at least the day before, you have all the paperwork that you're going to need. You've got your driver's license, you know where that appointment email is, print it off, get your theory test pass certificate, make sure you've got them, make sure you've got your glasses, put them to one side and make sure you've got them. And then for breakfast, make sure you've got them by you then, because you will need to take them, okay? You do not want to be literally on the morning of your test running around the house looking for that driver's license or that letter or etc. etc. Make sure you know the time, make sure you know definitely the test center. In theory, your driving instructor, driving school has booked this for you and they will have made reference to this. But make sure you send them a copy of the email so they know as well. Can't tell you the number of times I've heard of driving instructors who got the test date wrong, or the pupil who has looked up and said, yeah, my test is at Thursday at 3 o'clock, and they find out it was last Thursday at 3 o'clock. So make sure you send the evidence to your instructor as well, because just making sure things secret is in the preparation. If you are a smoker, have one before the test. Get your instructor or whatever, just stop somewhere, round the corner from the test center, get out, move away from the car, stretch your legs for a bit, and have a smoke if you need it. Take water with you. Take a bottle of water with you as well. Have a little sip before. And don't worry, there is a toilet at the exam test centre, so you'll be able to have a wee or whatever you need to do before then. Arrive at the test centre early, but not more than 10 minutes early. This is important. You will bump into other tests coming out, and the last thing they want is you to be parking your car before a test when they're trying to finish their test. So around about 10 minutes before. Some test centres have different arrangements. Your instructor will know what they are, etc. Sometimes it's a good idea to get your instructor to pop you up to the test centre to have a little look at it before the test. I used to do this, park down the road, look and wander up and just stick their head into the test centre and say, look, this is where you'll sit, this is where the blue is, this is where you'll park, etc., etc. Okay, when you're on your test, I'd have said most people fail their test. They often say it's nerves. It is nerves often because they're thinking about that roundabout, the one that they don't like. So they get out the test centre and they're thinking, oh my Lord, am I going to go left towards that roundabout? While they're thinking about that roundabout, of course, they actually mess up the junction that they're turning, because it's vitally important to concentrate on the here and the now. Your instructor's probably given you a routine like MSPSL, so at that turning, you'll be thinking, well, what mirrors, what signal, what position, what speed, where am I going to look? Where am I going? You shouldn't be thinking about the junction up ahead, the roundabout that you may never do, the maneuver you may never do. And again, as I said before, in reality, you should be quite happy. In fact, you should be wanting to be taken to those places. But don't think about other things. And I will always tell my pupils who have nerves problems, literally use that routine: mirror, signal, position, speed, look. Sometimes I tell them to even talk out loud, to actually say what they're doing. Mirrors, signal, I'm looking at that car. What's that car doing? Okay, I'm going to turn right now, because it means the brain is focusing on the now, and you know what you're doing. You will pass your test if you do that. But if you don't, if you don't concentrate on the now, that's where the mistakes happen, So use your routine and concentrate on that, okay? And if the worst fails, and if the worst happens and you do unfortunately fail, then get back onto your school, get them to get another test booked, and consider using a cancellation checker as well. I say it's a little short video really just to help you, etc. I'm hoping this has helped. I'm hoping you can see your way through to passing your test. Well, that's all for me today. Good luck in your test, and I wish you every success. Thank you very much, Sam. Bye-bye for now.